What's going on, Bucs fans? Happy Victory Monday. It is the Cannon Fire Podcast post-game discussion week 2 because we couldn't do it for week 1 because we all know what happened there. But what's going on, guys? My name is Rhett Redicus, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host and the best in the business, Mr. Bucs Football. Evan, how are you doing on this Victory Monday? We got a lot to talk about.
I'm doing much better now. It's a Victory Monday and not a sad Monday, or at least any type of Monday, because last week we all know it was a regular Monday for a lot of Bucs fans. Well, every Bucs fan.
I tell you what, going into the game, I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be that good. Okay. And we do have some cons to talk about, as anything. If the Bucs had played perfect, we wouldn't be talking about it. But you know, it's one of those things, man. Just really good to see. Really good to see. We talked about before, preseason week 2 was almost a month ago. That's when a lot of the starters really hit the field for real deal game day scenario. They come back out after almost a full month. And if there's any rust, if this is ring rust, if this is them shaking off ring rust, I can only imagine what it looks like when this team gets it all together. But a great game. We got a lot to talk about today, but people are coming into the stream. We got a couple of people watching now. What's going on, guys? If you are here representing, make sure you drop something in the live chat, and we will come back with you here. But we are talking week 2 action between the Bucs and the Bears. If you didn't see it yesterday, then I'm sorry. It was probably one of the best game day experiences I've had in a very long time. 29-7, the final score. It was looking like 29-0, but Mike Glennon had his check downs come together and did form a pretty good looking drive there at the end for the Bears. But Evan, really quick before we jump into things, let's actually sorry to interrupt. Trey Schmidt, what's going on? Fade Ennis, what's going on? Artistic Apple Owen, what's good, man? The Bucs did win 29-7, and Trey Schmidt said hi. Follow me at Goat Evans 21. We will make sure we do that. But what's going on, guys? Welcome to the stream. Hope you stick around and enjoy. So let's jump right into this bad boy and let's dissect this football game that we witnessed yesterday. And I've got some notes. Let me just pull them up here. But Evan, you got the stage, my friend.
Yeah, well, I mean, what better way to start off a football season than, offense gets the ball first. And, I will admit they got bailed out a couple times.
For sure.
I believe it was third and 4. Winston threw the pass a bit over Brate's head, and it was called defensive holding. Kept the drive alive. Bucs ended up kicking a field goal, which worried me a bit because we all know red zone offense is probably the biggest concern with this offense. In my opinion, it's my biggest concern. I'm not really concerned about the offensive line. Not really concerned about the running back situation too much, but the red zone offense, putting touchdowns on the board instead of field goals. But what better way for the defense to start off? I mean, honestly, Glennon was doing what he does, and he was driving down the field, thinking, dunking, putting 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, converting. And then Quan Alexander came to play, and he made the play. And I seriously think that changed the whole game right then and there, because the Bears were in field goal range. If they wouldn't have got a first down or wouldn't have got a touchdown, it would have been a field goal, and then it's a tie game. So that was huge. And then the offense stalled. I mean, I didn't really expect the offense to come out, firing on, for this game, just because. I mean, I always say offense takes chemistry, and these guys have had 3 weeks off, so it was a bit of a concern, and I wasn't that upset when they didn't score. But then Tariq Cohen made the rookie mistake, of course, turnover, next play, Winston to Evans, beautiful. And then the defense really started to come alive. Defense forced another turnover with the Noah Spence strip sack on Glennon. Bucs were able to capitalize on that, turn that into a touchdown to Quiz Rogers. Then the very next drive, Robert McClain had the play of the day, 47-yard pick six. To me, that was it. That was
the nail in the coffin for you?
That was probably, I thought there was about a 70% chance they were going to win. When that happened, I put it to about a 90. I didn't think, because the Bears weren't showing anything.
Did you see actually Robert McClain? He had made a post about it. His first NFL pick. It was his sister's birthday. His sister's birthday.
Yeah. It was
His first
actually
NFL pick. Took it to the house for a pick six. What a play! And like you said, play of the day by Robert McClain. In the live chat, Artistic Apple said, "Hell yeah, we won." So do you think that the Bucs will have a successful season? Without a doubt. And Fade Ennis, offensive and defensive MVP for the game. We will do that last. We will talk about the game, talk about the pros and cons, what we saw, and then we will wrap up with offensive and defensive MVP. So make sure you stick around for that. But you talked about the offense, the red zone offense, and the offense did get bailed out a few times. But overall, I believe that Jameis looked a little more composed than he normally did. The pocket, there were a couple of times. The O-line did a good job all day, by the way. I did want to point that out. Cam Brayton and O.J. Howard were excellent blocking all day long. There were a couple of plays where the pocket did collapse quicker than it should have, but that goes back. Jameis looked a little bit more composed than he usually does. It shows that he is making an effort towards the elite status that was talked about on Hard Knocks, sort of taking Cutter's advice. Cutter said, you know, you can't be an elite quarterback if you're making decisions like lobbing the ball down the field. And it's a process. It's a week-by-week process, but Jameis really showing a little bit of effort to be that elite player that everyone knows he can be. And a good look for Jameis week one. As you said, he looked all right. There were a few times he did get sacked. I believe he finished sacked twice on the day.
Yeah, I believe so. Sacked twice. He was sacked on that opening drive, actually, which led to the field goal. That was one of the things that led to the field goal.
Yeah.
And then actually, he should have. There was one sack I remember. He actually should have thrown the ball away and didn't. And that's something he's got to get better on as well. But it's better than to take the sack than to throw the ball in the area of play. So.
Right. And you know, a good look for Jameis most of the day. Not perfect, but as we talked about, working towards that elite status. And another thing I did want to bring up, everybody showed up to show out today. The only person who did not catch a ball who was targeted was Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin at the end of the game was targeted in the end zone, and the ball fell incomplete. A Bears defender was able to get in there. But everyone else was targeted. Everyone else got catches today and was able to put some numbers on the board, and that was absolutely incredible. Really showing what Jameis can do with these weapons early on in the regular season. O.J. Howard finished with a reception after blocking all day. Cam Brayton had a few good receptions. But Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans really came and really balled out all day long today on offense. Mike Evans, I believe, finished with almost 16 fantasy points, over 100 yards. 113 was the final tally. And it was a good day for the Bucs offense. We'll put it like that. A few holes, a few rust a few rusty areas as we talked about, but really just a great day for this Bucs offense.
Yeah, definitely. And the exact number actually are a bit off on that. Mike Evans actually had under 100 yards, 7 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. Close, but yeah, I thought Deshaun Jackson honestly could have had an even bigger game. That's something that James needs to get better on, and James will become an elite quarterback if he can improve on the deep ball. There was 3 times James said Deshaun Jackson, and he missed them. That's 3 touchdowns. And James also had Charles Sims, who was as wide open as you can be. And It seemed the announcers made a good point. I don't really think the announcing crews for Fox are that great. I like Charles Davis when he's announcing, but they didn't get Charles Davis. They got Dick Stockton and David Deal, I believe. They said, I think Winston was so excited that he saw Sims that wide open that he just threw the ball. And you could tell, I don't know if you saw the TV broadcast at all, but on a TV broadcast, they showed Winston's face, and you see him throw the ball, and he's like this, and then he just goes, and you could just see how upset he was at himself. Like he almost hit his head and stuff like that, and yeah, he was upset, but he'll get better at that. That's something that he'll improve on, and that's the chemistry I'm talking about. He'll be able to time that route much better with Deshaun Jackson and Charles Sims come week 6, week 7, stuff like that.
Yeah, and that play was definitely had the potential to be a home run play. Charles Sims on the wheel. Exactly, it would have been a touchdown. And it really would have Not that it wasn't already, but it really would have just put the game away right then and there. I believe we did settle. That was the drive with the 50-yard field goal by Nick Folk, right?
No, that was the 50-yard field goal was the drive at the end of the first half. I believe it was 26-0 already when Jameis missed Sims.
Okay.
So that would have really put it out of reach for the Bears. But
yeah.
I believe it was the second or third drive of the third quarter for the Bucs.
I started to get mixed up on the drives. It was such a flurry yesterday. Everybody in the nosebleeds was high-fiving each other.
Game. Yeah, it's hard to keep track. It's hard to keep track.
But a really good day by Nick Folk, too. Came out, looked solid, only missed one kick. And
I'll take it.
You know, it's okay. It's positive. He finished with a positive record, and we talked about it. You said it on the live stream. I thought it was pretty funny on Instagram Live earlier. If we would have had Aguayo, it would have been 20-7. 29-7, the final score. Great day for Nick Folk. He came out, and he was actually one of the top fantasy kickers yesterday. I think he finished with, but it was over 10. I know for a fact he was top 10.
I believe
fantasy.
14.
Yeah, for sure. And the Bucs defense came out. Good thing I started them yesterday. The Bucs defense came out and got 19 points. The number one fantasy defense on the day, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Great day. Now, another thing that I wanted to transition to, something that still looks a little rocky, and we're talking about the offense now. This will probably wrap up the offensive discussion, and we'll talk about defense. But the running game, Jacquizz Rodgers came out and had a solid day, put points on the board. But you said it. You also said it on the Instagram Live, and I can't agree with you. He didn't flash. He didn't blow up at any time of the day. There were a couple of 10+ yard runs, but really nothing that set the tone. Nothing that showed that the Bears couldn't stop this run defense more than they did. And it was a good day. There were yards all around. Offense had a great day, but the run game still looks questionable. And the question in the air that a lot of people are still talking about, Doug Martin comes back week 5, is it? Week 5, week 6? Week 6.
Yes. Yep.
Week 5.
Yeah, it'll be week 5 versus the Patriots. Short week
after
they play the Giants. So could be a big game for Doug Martin. Hopefully he can thrash the apparently very weak Patriots defense.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw that. We saw that against New Orleans. Really good day for the offense of the Patriots, and that's what we're going to be dealing with if they come in with that same tenacity. It's going to be a very high-scoring game for the Buccaneers, something that is really going to determine how the Bucs fare in that game. A way that you look at it is how Jameis is going to mature by week 5. It's a 4-week difference. It's a full month. That's a month of football. That's a month of practice. It's a different scenario. It's a different way of warming up, and it really comes down, people brought it up before, the run game and Jameis getting a little bit more accurate on that deep ball. As we said before, obviously it's not something that we're going to see immediately, and by week 5, they're still going to be 50-50. I'm not going to say he's going to be an elite quarterback by week 5. He's going to be, trading punches with Tom Brady, but you talk about ring rust. We say that over and over again. You talk about how the team looked week 2 against the Bears, first time out on the field once again, shaking off some of those preseason kinks, and just how the team can mature from here to there. I kind of drug that out a little bit, but your input.
Yeah, I mean, the weak point of this whole run game thing is definitely Charles Sims. I'll tell you, one guy who really impressed me yesterday was Peyton Barber. Thought Barber ran hard. I thought he made some nice cuts. I thought Quiz had a good day. I think he had a very Jacquizz Rodgers day. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Jacquizz Rodgers is not a starting caliber NFL running back. Oh, he is a good backup running back. He really is. And that's what the team brought him on to be. And let's just say this. Doug Martin never gets injured week 2 in Arizona last year. Jacquizz Rodgers never even comes in. So let's just put it that way. And I think once Doug comes back, you don't know. That's the scary part. You can get an immediate upgrade or you could have every single fan wanting Jacquizz Rodgers way that's the risk you run, because with Doug Martin, you really don't know what you're going to get, and especially don't know what you're going to get right now, because coming off the suspension, where's his mind going to be? They're going to be playing some tough run defenses coming up. Cardinals, Bills, Panthers. They're all very good against the run, and Doug Martin. But I mean, if he can return to 2015 form, offense can put up record numbers for the Bucs. I don't know about the NFL, like NFL history record books, but I don't think they're that good yet. Maybe if Jameis wasn't already an elite quarterback and OJ Howard was already an elite tight end, something like that. But I think that this offense could probably be a top 3 in the league if Doug Martin returns to his 2015 form. I really do. Offensive line looked real good, especially blocking. J.R. Sweezy really impressed me yesterday. Spurs are slowly going to go away here with each coming week, and Bucs faced their first bigger test against the Vikings defensive line. So it's going to be really interesting to see who gets the upper hand in the run game, because that game's going to come down to who runs the ball better and who has less turnovers. That's what it's going to come down to.
Exactly, and we had talked about before Chicago. One thing is we kind of switch over to the defensive side of the ball. One thing we talked about with Chicago is stopping that run game, because Chicago came out and showed a pretty solid day on the ground against Atlanta just a week before, as they did hold the defending NFC champs to only 6 points. The Bucs came out and did just that, only 20 rushing yards on the day for Chicago. Great day, and I've got some notes here on the defense, but really quick, let's check in with a live chat. Fade Ennis said, I like Rondé announcing our games because he's a little biased. He is, but that's just what you like to hear. Trey Schmidt said 13 points for Folk on the day. So 13 points.
13, okay.
A great day for a kicker. I believe Justin Tucker for me only finished with like 6, but that's okay. Peyton Barber looked really good, though. Yes, sir, he did. And Douglas O'Connor said Quiz came out flat, improved as the day went on. Barber took advantage of a tired Bears D. Regardless, Barber did show some potential and a little bit more flashiness of Jaquiz. Like you said, Quiz came out flat. Quiz didn't come out and make a difference in the game right away. Had to warm up a little bit. Had to wear down that Bears defense. And the first drive of the game really wasn't looking good for Jaquiz. But he did come out and make an impact. Let's talk about the defense really quick. Just a couple of points I wanted to bring up. We'll go one by one. Good front four pressure, but it was only 1 sack on the day, and that was the strip sack by Noah Spence. A lot of people, and maybe because it was Mike Glennon we were going up against, but a lot of people were expecting 3, 4, even 5. I was hearing, but those were fans at the game in the moment. People talk about going 16-0 after you go 1-0, but it's no sacks on the day, but good pressure from the front four all day long. A lot of guys getting in the backfield. Again, the 20 rushing yards on the ground, but no sacks. Do you think it's a finishing issue, or do you really think it's just the Bears O-line protecting their quarterback?
It's a little bit of both. The Bucs, front four played okay. I think they got a few QB pressures, which are pretty good. Not as good as sacks, but they're probably they're much better than just giving them all day to make a throw. And you saw the Bucs blitzed Levante David and Quan Alexander a lot. And by the way, update on Quan Alexander and Levante David. Levante David, it was just cramps. He'll be fine. Quan Alexander, it was 90 degrees. Come on. And it's his first game. And Quan Alexander was a hamstring. He's already said he's going to be fine. So I think both of them guys will be back and ready for Minnesota. But yeah, they blitzed a lot, and that's what Mike Smith knows he has to do. Because this front four, it's good, but it's certainly not great. It's nowhere near great, and this front four can't consistently get to the quarterback. Strip sack was very nice by Noah Spence. He still needs some polishing to do, but also, I looked at it, and the Bears were in max protection on a lot of the plays because they had to air the ball out because they were down so big. So they were playing max protect, and that might have been one of the reasons why the Bucs front four wasn't able to produce how they wanted to. However, it still needs to be better. I think the Bears' offensive line is a tad better than the Vikings, honestly. Vikings' offensive line did not look good against the Steelers. Hopefully the Bucs can continue that success. And then the next week after that, week 4 versus the Giants, I think the Bucs have that's probably the worst offensive line they're going to face. I think the Giants' offensive line. I mean, I was watching Monday Night Football, Giants Lions right now, and Eli has no time at all. It was last week in Dallas, he had no time. This week in Detroit, in New York versus Detroit, he has no time. And Detroit has a good defensive line, but it's not the best. It's sort of like the Bucs almost. So let's hope the Bucs can continue that. And I still expect Mike Smith to keep blitzing guys. He's going to send Quan. He's going to send Levante. Soon he'll be sending TJ Ward down there, stuff like that. Just different looks to try to get pass rush going.
And praising the defense and kind of talking about what needs to be fixed. Overall, the great day by the defense, but something that a lot of people noticed and a lot of people talked about. Actually, I was able to get on the radio yesterday and talk to Anthony Beck and Ronnie Lang on the post-game call-in show. Anthony Beck, as you know, a tight end for the Buccaneers for many years, and the Chiefs and the about open field tackling, one-on-one tackling. There were a lot of plays yesterday that could have been finished earlier than they were. A lot of times it was a situation where the defensive player could have come down and finished the play quicker than it could have. A lot of whiffed tackles. But following up on that, and we'll jump back to that in a second, but following up, somebody I wanted to recognize, somebody that I hated a year ago, really did a good job of making himself known out there. Chris Conte was at the tail end of a lot of plays. Chris Conte was pushing guys out of bounds. Chris Conte was making tackles. I'm not saying he was the defensive MVP, but I'm saying he did a very good job of showing people that he is working to improve where he was this point last year. A good effort by Chris Conte going out there and sticking his nose into the play. But a lot of missed tackling, and Anthony Beck had said it's been a month. We brought up the point that it had been a month since a lot of these guys have been coming out here preseason week 2. That's been said millions of times. It's been a month. Ring rust. You look at these guys coming back out here, getting used to the everyday situation, and Derek Brooks had brought it up. He just talked about tackling. It's gonna be a process to get these guys in the right place at the right time, and they're almost there. They're almost there. These guys are in the right place at the right time. It just comes down to committing and making those tackles as soon as they come up, and that's a reflex that a lot of the younger guys still haven't wrapped their head around. But something that we hopefully should see a big difference in about 2 or 3 games. I think Minnesota is really going to be the make it or break it for how this tackling situation is going to pan out.
I definitely agree. Just like Beck said, it's been a month. Really hurts when your team doesn't practice tackling. We said it. Training camp, they did not practice tackling. So how are you going to get better tackling? One thing I did notice, though, one play, one meaningless kickoff return by the Bears. The Bears had a decent return, and who made a great tackle to save probably about an extra 15 yards?
Was that the one that came back? Was that the one that came back for the penalty?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
That's the problem. That player who made the great tackle was Justin Evans, and he was the guy that's what he needed to work on. His instincts were good, coverage skills were good, was a awful tackler. He would have been a first-round pick coming out of Texas A&M had he been able to tackle. I believe he missed the second most tackles on the Texas A&M defense last season, and just awful. And he made a great special teams play. So a lot of people have asked me about Justin Evans. Oh, bust, this, that. No, it's basically a red shirt year for him. He's going to develop on special teams, watch some film. He actually played 7 defensive snaps and didn't give up any big plays. Didn't hear his name at all. So that was a good sign. So hopefully Evans is continuing to develop and working on the tackling, because if he becomes a solid tackler, he's going to be a really good football player. Others, Kendall Beckwith, I thought tackled very well. I thought Levante David, the way he's tackling guys up close. and personal, and he's tackling not from a waist down. I mean, he's getting right in your grill, and that's why I really like that style. Really strikes almost like strikes a fear into the opposing offense. But other than that, yeah, you're right. It's week 1 for the Bucs, basically 3 weeks off. Plus, you haven't practiced tackling. This game's gonna be big. You need to tackle Dalvin Cook when you get your hands on him. Simple.
Yeah, he's a guy that can.
Yeah, he's too good of a back to be, and they did an awesome job of containing Jordan Howard. And so if Sam Bradford does not play, which we'll talk about briefly in a couple minutes here, not play, and they contain Dalvin Cook like they contain Jordan Howard, the Bucs should win this game. As long as Winston doesn't commit turnovers and Nick Folk hits all of his kicks, they should be able to win this game.
All right. I believe you there. Jumping over to the live chat really quick. Douglas O'Connor said only one sack has to do more with Glennon relying on the short, quick passing game. As we brought up before, he is the check down king. It's hard to defend that check down. He got a lot of completions. He finished with over 300 yards simply because of the check down. He beat us all day on those, and tackling really does come into that situation. Not so much the front four pass rush with the sack, as you did bring that up, but the open field tackling, there were a lot of plays with a whiff tackle, and 3, 4, 5 yards were picked up. Also some hate for Anthony Beck. Douglas O'Connor did say Anthony Beck is a self-promotion ass clown. Next time you talk to him, you can tell him I said that. Give us your reasoning, man. When I talked to him on the phone, I talked to him and Ronnie Lang, and I'll be honest with you, I met Ronnie Lang in person back when he worked at 620, and he was okay. He's really the type of guy to, if he doesn't have time to talk to you, he's going to make that clear. But Douglas O'Connor, tell us why you hate Anthony Beck so much. He was nice to me on the phone. He didn't say any nasty things to me. He didn't promote his website or whatever he's got going on now to me. We just talked Bucs football. But looking at Minnesota next week, actually, before we jump into Minnesota, let's talk about the MVPs on the day. And we will do offensive MVP, defensive MVP, and honorable mention, just because some guys definitely did come out and have a good play, have a good day, even though they weren't, top of the board. We will start with myself first, just because I got them queued up right here. Offensive MVP, as if it really could have been anybody else. Mike Evans really went out there and had himself a day. A very good performance from Mike Evans. I wish I could have picked somebody like Chris Godwin, but as we know, Chris Godwin did not catch the one target he had. Not entirely his fault, but let's see if we can't get him a touchdown next week. A good overall day by the Bucs offense, and Mike Evans really did stick out, so he is my offensive MVP. Defensive MVP, we talked about him before, all up in your face, Levante David. A good day for Levante David. Not so much a Quan Alexander day where he did get the interception. And did Quan finish with a fumble recovery as well?
No, that was actually Levante.
That was Levante. Okay. But
yeah,
you brought it up as my defensive MVP. He was in the face of the defense every single day. If you were an offensive player on the Bears and Levante was assigned to you, you look up and he was right there making the play. He was blitzed all day, but he did a very good job of showing up in the right place at the right time, and an awesome job tackling, as always, by big number 54. Now, an honorable mention, as if it could have been anybody else, Robert McClain with the play of the day, and Robert McClain did also finish with a pass deflection. A good day for Robert McClain as he comes up as my honorable mention. Now, Evan, I'll toss it over to you, and then we'll talk Minnesota.
All right. Well, I picked Adam Humphries to be my offensive MVP before the game, and that was a wild card pick. So why not do it again for the offensive MVP after the game? Another wild card. I'm going to go with DeMar Dotson. DeMar Dotson quietly had one of the best games of his career, and PFF, Pro Football Focus, rated him as the top Buccaneer. I believe he allowed only one quarterback hurry. He was outstanding all day. Didn't have any penalties against him. Did not let the edge defenders get by him. He was pretty much perfect all day for the Buccaneers. And if he's perfect, he's not going to be perfect every game. Nobody's perfect. I don't care who. Tom Brady is not perfect. Joe Thomas, the offensive tackle, probably one of the best in the game, probably one of the best ever, is not perfect. But if he continues to play like that, this line is going to be fine. And it was, Winston's jersey was pretty well dry. So, my defensive MVP is Levante David. I can't really do a wild card on that one, because Levante was all over the field. And honestly, if the way the game that Quan Alexander was having, if Quan didn't exit the game on a hamstring injury, I might have picked him because he was all over the field too. And if these guys both stay healthy during the season, they're going to be just fine. I have an honorable mention for the defense, but I also have two honorable mentions. So one honorable mention for the defense is Will Golston. Will Golston played a really good game. Set the tone. The first play for the Bears offense, Golston blew up the guard and got in there to stop Howard. And he was just all over the field. Golston's helmet actually ripped off that first play, and Golston just looked. I posted on Bucs Football, and I posted on my Twitter. I said, waking up on Victory Monday, and it's just a picture of Golston, just screaming, and he was just so pumped up, so fired up, and he played well. Mention kicker Nick Folk. You know what I mean? Make all of his kicks. When's the last time the Bucs had a kicker make a 50-yard kick in Raymond James Stadium?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. That 50-yard kick, it was pretty loud in there, and it put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces to think that they could trust Nick Folk from 50 yards out. But definitely a good day for Nick Folk, and I'll let you finish, but definitely I wanted to recognize really quick. It was great in there, man. Nick Folk had a hell of a day.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if he misses one extra point but makes a 51, a 42, and a 41-yard field goal plus the rest of his extra points, I'll take it. I don't care. Well, honestly, would it have hurt if that was a close game? Yes, and then you can blame Folk all you want. But, truth is, like I said, nobody's perfect. He's going to miss. Guess what, guys? This season, he's going to miss a field goal. He's going to miss an extra point. It's just going to happen. He's going to miss more than one field goal. He's going to miss more than one extra point. It happens. I also think he'll make more than he misses, of course. But, I don't think I've ever seen a kicker truly, miss more than he's made. I don't even think Berto last year. I don't even think he was that bad. I think he was pretty bad. More. Yeah, he's pretty bad, but he made more than he missed. I'm pretty sure. I think. I'm not positive, too confident. Sure, he made more than he missed, and that's with every kicker. So Folk hit 87% of his kicks last season. If he can do that again, that's good enough for the Buccaneers, in my opinion. But Buccaneers definitely don't want Nick Folk kicking 50-yard field goals. They want him kicking extra points.
Yeah, for sure. And really quick, before we jump into Minnesota, we'll check the live chat one more time in just a second. This is from our boy Greg Allman, and I don't know if it's photoshopped because I've seen things like this before, but anyone who's really going to take the time to Photoshop, I don't think they're going to credit Greg Allman for this. But Fox has announced that Tiki Barber will join his twin brother Rondé Barber in the booth to call the Bucs-Giants game, their old teams in Tampa, on October 1st.
For real.
That's going to be a hell of a game just for the announcers alone. I'm excited for that. That got me excited to make sure I'm ready to watch that game. That is one
biased team, man. Wow. There's going to be some arguments up in that booth.
It's going to be nothing but brotherly love, though. It's going to be fun to watch. And jumping back into the live chat really quick before we talk Minnesota, Artistic Apple said, I shouted you out on my story, by the way. Thank you, Owen. You sent a heart emoji. Thanks, I would send one back. Thank you very much. I did check that out over on Snapchat just a second ago. And he also said, congrats on 60 subs. Thank you guys so much, by the way. I did notice that during the stream, we hit 60 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much. The support means everything in the world. And the new game day vlog that we uploaded is also at 15 views. So thank you guys so much. We wouldn't be anything without you because we'd just be sitting here talking to ourselves, and it would look pathetic.
Yeah, it would be sad.
We'd be talking about football. But thank you guys so much for 60 subscribers. And really quick, we do have a response from Douglas O'Connor regarding Anthony Becht. Okay. So he said, I like Ronnie. I like Ronnie too. Ronnie's a good guy. He's been doing this for a long time, and I think that's what it comes back to my point earlier. When he doesn't have time to talk to you, he'll make it clear, but he's very stern. But Ronnie's a good guy. Douglas O'Connor then finished and said, Becht and I got into it over McCaffrey on Twitter. Becht said he wasn't a first-round pick, and he had an overinflated view of himself because he didn't want to play in the Sun Bowl. You know, you're dealing with former football players. That's something you're going to get, unfortunately. They can be the nicest guys on the radio. They can be the nicest guys on TV. But when you really get down to the nitty-gritty and you're talking to these guys one-on-one, they'll be nice to you, but they'll make it clear that they're a little bit better than
higher level of anarchy. Yep.
And that starts with anyone. You know, that starts in high school. That's how high school football players are, man. You got to walk around with a winner's attitude on your shoulders, and I don't blame them. It's an attitude, but it's something a lot of guys don't shake off after their careers are over. Look at Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp is a great guy. You talk to Warren Sapp, he's smart. He'll talk to you. He'll joke around with you, but he's Warren Sapp. And if you're a Bucs fan and you have any idea what I'm talking about, you know. But let's jump into it. Let's talk about Minnesota Vikings next week. It's going to be on the road for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, our first road game of the year, as it would have been Miami. But again, we all know what happened there.
We'll get him week 11.
We'll get him week 11. We better. I got a cousin who's a diehard Miami fan. He's been talking nothing but trash ever since. My
cousin's a Miami fan too.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst, is it not?
Yeah.
Talking all that trash, man. But jumping into Minnesota, let's take a look. I picked the Bucs to win on the Season Predictions podcast. It's going to be our first challenge, as we brought up. How are you feeling about Minnesota coming up?
I picked the Bucs to win on our season predictions. Not going to give my official prediction yet because we're going to do that for the show on Thursday, which will be on YouTube and be on iTunes. That'll be our preview for the Vikings game. Going to go in depth. By then, hopefully, we'll know if Bradford will be starting or not. That's what our hope is, that we will know whether it's Bradford or Case Keenum, who just seems to beat the Bucs every single time. So we might as well hope for Bradford. So basically, this game is going to be low scoring. That's all I'm going to tell you. I have a prediction in mind right now. All I'm going to say is it's going to be low scoring, and I think fans are going to like it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not really going to say much, but I think the fans could experience another happy Monday like this one next week.
So it'll be a comfortable game. It's not going to blow the roof off the place like Chicago did. But it's going to be comfortable. Bucs fans are going to be feeling pretty okay throughout. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a nail biter towards the end. But if you're not a Bucs or Vikings fan, it's going to be a pretty boring game.
Okay. It won't have the big plays. It won't have any 47-yard pick sixes. A lot of ground game, a lot of runs. Small passes, dink and dunk, maybe a turnover here and there, maybe a nice special teams play, but like your typical old school football game, sort of. I think the score is going to really reflect like the Tony Dungy 1999 days where they were winning games 6-3. I'm not saying this game is going to be 63. 6-3. It's not. It's going to be each team is going to score more.
63-3. The Buccaneers are going to come in there and on the brink of setting the NFL points record is really what's going to happen in Minnesota. We got the word from Evan right here. The official quote. That's what it is. You're calling it 63-3.
Yeah, I wish. I'll tell you what. I'll make you a bet. If it's 63-3, Bucs. If the Bucs even get over 50 points. I'll pay you whatever amount of money you want.
Are you saying this game or are you saying it all this season?
This game.
Okay.
This game. The Bucs score over 50, I'll give you $100. I will mail you $100 to Florida. I will. I swear to God I will.
I'll take your word on it, man.
I'll be so happy I won't even mind. I won't even mind it. So
I got you. It'll be nothing. But you had brought up the idea of an old school game. Really bare bones football, going to be a lot of run game. And something I did want to bring up really quick, as we talked about before, containing Dalvin Cook, who has come out and had a little bit of a mixed season so far. Not bad at all, but definitely could use some work. But the right
Had a
run
real good
defense
first game.
had a really good first game, yeah. But the right run defense could really shut them down. And I wouldn't say so much that it's the run defense because the Buccaneers did shut down Chicago. Chicago has a talented backfield. We'll say that they proved that against Atlanta week 1. So a very talented team there. But shutting down the run defense really isn't the main issue. This comes back to, as we talked about before, tackling. You're going to have a lot of guys looking to get in his face, Dalvin Cook, looking to get in Dalvin Cook's face, looking to stop the play early, and he has a proven ability to shake guys off like they're nothing. So if you're going to be relying on guys like Quan Alexander, Levante David, even Noah Spence maybe to come off of the edge and finish the play early, they can get the job done, but I don't think it's something that they can do all day. So the tackling is really going to have to, and as I said before, the tackling is really going to be make or break when it comes to how it looks for the rest of the season regarding Dalvin Cook in Minnesota on Sunday.
Yeah, and I agree. I think stopping the run is probably the biggest part, but also you got to stop the pass.
Stephon Diggs is really
Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, and Kyle Rudolph are way better than what the Bears have at tight end and wide receiver. The Bears were already not good at wide receiver, and they just got decimated with injuries. I believe it was 3 plays in a row the Bears dropped balls Sunday.
Wide open passes, too. There were a lot of wide open passes dropped.
Just dropped. I felt bad for Mike, too. His stats could look much better. But, hey, the game was over anyway. But, he's definitely not getting help from his receivers. But the Vikings receivers are much better. I mean, they're not the best in the league. They're not – they're probably Diggs and Thielen are probably top 15 duo in the league. But Bucs need to stop the run first because that's what the Vikings are going to try to do, especially if Case Keenum ends up starting because they're not going to want to put the ball in Keenum's hands 35 times a game. Case Keenum is Case Keenum for a reason, even though, like I said, he seems to beat the Bucs every year. 2015, he beat them on a Thursday night game, and he was with the Rams in St. Louis. Last game in St. Louis, I believe, color rush game. Blew them out. And then week 3 of last season, in Tampa, the game that the Bucs should have won, the only game that the Bucs really should have won that they didn't win. Because that's something with the Bucs last year. The Bucs won the games they should have, except for that one. You could have said they could have beat the Raiders, but I'm talking about pre-game thoughts. Everybody thought the Bucs were going to beat the Rams. Nobody really thought the Raiders were going to beat the Bucs. I mean, the Bucs were going to beat the Raiders. So
yeah, but the Bucs took them to overtime, so anything can happen.
Yeah, but the Bucs still should have won that game.
Definitely, both of those games should have been Bucs.
Yeah, and Case Keenum with the LA Rams came to town, and what can I say?
The dude finds a way.
Whooped on against the Bucs. He doesn't do anything else against anybody else. So hopefully we will see Keenum start, and hopefully this will be a sign that the defense is now the best it's been in a long time. Because if they can shut down Case Keenum, they'll win the game. And what would be beautiful is if the Bucs can start off fast. Because if they can start fast, receive, go down, score a touchdown, be up 7-0. The Vikings are still going to try to run their game plan the first couple of drives, stop the run completely, go up 14-0 the end of the first quarter. Vikings aren't going to run the ball as much. They're going to have to put it in Keenum's hands, and Keenum's a backup quarterback for a reason. If the Bucs defense plays how they think they will against the Vikings, Keenum will make mistakes. Bucs will walk out of here with an easy win if they start off fast. The only bad thing is I think Minnesota's defense is too good to let that happen.
Okay, so we'll see what happens. It's really up in the air right now, and I agree with you here. It's a tougher team than we faced with Chicago, and it really comes out to how the Bucs set the tone early, given the opportunity. as you said, looking to strike fast. If the Bucs can strike fast, it'll set the tone for the game and should be a comfortable game for the Bucs as they can kind of work around and figure out that Minnesota game plan, especially shutting down the run as we brought up before. Shutting down the run and just working around that pass attack and shutting down Case Keenum is really all the Bucs have to do. And that could be said with any game. Oh, all you have to do is shut down this, shut down that.
Yep.
But it really comes into play here because, as you said, Case Keenum came with the Rams, and we couldn't seem to stop him. And the Rams won a game that really shouldn't have been won, that the Bucs won in every other aspect. So we will see what happens with Minnesota. You said pretty much everything that I was going to say. So instead of dragging this out, we will check back with the live chat one last time. Unless there's anything else you want to discuss, we could probably start shutting things down here, saying some last words, and making our way to wherever we go when we're not on the YouTube channel. We won't tell you guys that, though. That is confidential, off-the-record information. But I can tell you that we don't go anywhere. We actually do just stay in our house. So don't think we're that exciting.
Yeah, I don't do anything.
But happy Victory Monday, Bucs fans. We'll check in with the live chat one more time. There really isn't too much activity going on. Douglas O'Connor bashing Anthony Beck is the last thing that we have. But we did have a lot of traffic in and out throughout the night. We got one person checking it out right now. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel and checking out the live stream. Even if you were in, watched it, even if you were in, watched it for 30 seconds and said, I don't like the Bucs, and then left, that means the world to us because that means exposure and getting the word out there. So thank you guys so much. Bucs fans, happy Victory Monday. Thank you guys for checking it out. Thank you for letting us hit 60 subscribers on YouTube. And remember to subscribe and keep downloading on iTunes. New episode is up. And this Thursday night, we will be recording and releasing a new episode on YouTube and iTunes. So, Evan, any last words from the man, the myth, the legend, Bucs football?
Not really. I gonna get some nice stuff on the page this week. Gonna get a Vikings preview on to Minnesota now, just like the Bucs are. We're not gonna be talking about the Bears' victory much anymore. It's one win. Don't get too hyped over it. It's a one win against a bad football team. So Bucs gotta come to play this week, and hopefully they will. And, like I said, it's gonna be Thursday night. We're gonna be recording and live streams here and there when I can. I got a pretty busy week this week, but I'll see what I can do. And guys, just enjoy your week. You guys all enjoyed Victory Monday, and go Bucs.
Yeah, make sure you walk around work with the Vince McMahon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little strut.
Yeah, arms. Oh yeah, walk around like you mean business. Have a great week, Bucs fans. Thank you guys for checking it out. Remember, Atlanta led by 25. Have a good rest of your night, and go Bucs.